Good morning and welcome to the F Word discussions where we talk about what's happening in the week of finance. And today we're actually sitting together. We're trying a different format. It's just for us. It's actually nice, and
Yeah.
hopefully the viewers as well. But it's interesting. I'm from Stellenbosch and Francis from Somerset West, but we're in Pretoria currently. We are quite busy with a couple of things, planning the year ahead, and just some sales training actually today. But Franja, 2 days ago, we went and see a client, so a corporate client, a pension fund. They just appointed us as a broker, and they said, "Please, can you advise us on the fund? And just tell us what you think about the fund, because it has
Yeah.
been a long time since they actually revised the fund." And it was crazy to know that how it did not suit their needs anymore, and it was very high priced. So the people contributes 12%
Yeah.
total contribution, but the risk cost, so that's your life cover, your disability, and all of that, took up more than half of the percentage of contributions they contribute. So they think they're contributing 12% to the pension fund, but about 6 to 7% were actually going to the risk, and only 5% to the retirement savings. So that was one example. So, but what I want to just advise everyone on that's at a pension fund is you must review the fund at least every 2 to 3 years. And here's three reasons why. So, first of all, there's been many changes in this industry, and I think we as individuals we revise our financial plan every year. But similarly, companies must also do it because companies change every year. So what suited you 10 years ago is not suited for you anymore. And you can see this specific company, there are lots of risk cover. Maybe 10, 15 years ago, they think it was wise.
Yeah.
But now they realize maybe only one person is going to claim throughout the lifetime, but 99 of the people are going to retire. So you must adjust it that it suits most people. So first of all, there's lots of changes in this industry. Second of all, fees. I think the market and especially financial industry has worked hard to get costs and fees
Yes.
down. And if you don't revise your fees, the insurance companies are just gonna let it escalate year by year. So if you don't do a cost comparison to see what you can get your company B and C to just to evaluate,
Yep.
well, you're not paying more than you should, then it will just run away with you. So definitely for the fees, and then lastly, regulatory changes. There's been a lot of regulatory changes in the financial industry, but especially when it comes to pension and provident funds. 2001, there's been the retirement reform, lots of changes happening there. But people don't know this. And even the employer, not even the employees, the employer wasn't aware of that because the advice in the employment benefit space, I don't think is up to par.
Yeah.
I think that's where we definitely see a big gap. So if you belong to a pension or provident fund and you don't really know what's happening there, or if you work in human resources, you kind of want to review it, we're more than glad to do that for you, or to get someone else, get an advisor, a trusted advisor that's independent. He can get you a cost comparison across the board, give you advice to see if that structure still fits your needs, and make sure that the employees and the employers are aware of the regulatory changes.
Yeah, so just on that,
Yes.
so you see that a lot now. All of a sudden, people, as you said, they save 12%, or the contribution is 12%, but the investment, their pension fund side itself, isn't growing, and they don't understand that because in their minds they're putting away
So when
12%.
people say no, the markets are not growing, but it's not just the markets that's not growing. So 100%, you have a total contribution, which is 12% in this case. Then it gets split between the risk cost, and if that's too big, it eats away from the 12%, and also fees. There's advisor fees and product fees and admin fees. There's so many layers of fees that you can now cut away. People that weren't aware of the fees, then there's no market performance, but the fees are too high. So definitely, there's so many layers of fees. Be aware of all these layers. In these days, you can be, it's a lot more transparent. 10 years ago, people didn't know the fees they pay. We know these days that very tight with, you need to put on paper what the fees are and know exactly what you're doing. So 100%. People must know of that 12%, how many actually am I saving?
Yeah, it's actually a little bit scary because if you think about it, only 6% of people can retire financially well. And a lot of people don't even understand that 12% itself, let's say a full 12% contribution went to the pension fund, that's still not enough. So get your personal financial planning in order, speak to a financial advisor, speak to your broker, who's basically your employee benefits broker. Let them help you or let Geo help you, but it's very, very important to understand where you're going and how much is enough to actually contribute to these funds.
Yeah, do retirement planning, especially if you're 10 years or less from retirement. You definitely need a retirement plan for your own personal. Get an advisor to just do a quick calculation for you if you just contribute like it is, or you need to make a plan to contribute more, or need to cut costs somewhere else.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Thanks, Q.
What do you have for us today?
So I've got another story again, but today I'm talking about diversification today. So in Morgan Housel's book, he talks about an art dealer. This art dealer, he was a German guy, Berggruen. Sorry for my pronunciation. But Berggruen fled from Germany, from Nazi Germany, to the United States. And he was an art dealer, art collector. And what he did was he amassed quite a fortune through his art dealership, right? So his total, let's say, wealth was $1 billion.
Okay, of art.
Of art. So long story short, he donated it to the German government for $100 million. So it was something very nice that he did. But long story short, what he did was he bought a lot of art from the same person. So let's say Picasso, he bought quite a few. So he didn't go and handpick one or two that he thought would be valuable. He just bought the whole collection. And then he went to the other artist and bought a collection. So he never tried to stock pick, if we can bring it to our terms. And only 1% of the art was worth $1 billion. The other 99% was almost worth nothing. And what that basically shows us that diversification is key when it comes to doing basically anything in life, but especially to investing. Don't always try and pick a single stock, diversify your portfolio. And what he did was he brought that to the Russell 3000 index. So the Russell 3000 index, for the people that don't understand that, it's the 3,000 biggest companies in the United States, and that has got an index, right? So from 1980 up until 2020, that index grew 72-fold. All right? But the funny thing is, 4 out of 10 companies on the Russell 3000 index went bust. They went bankrupt. The 73-fold or the 72-fold was driven by 7% of the companies on that index, which is crazy. So it just goes to show, diversify your portfolio, and you just need to be right once or twice for you to actually grow your wealth.
Yeah, the same happened last year with the Magnificent Seven.
Yeah.
You know, the whole S&P was up 35%, but it was mostly driven by 7 stocks. Now you would say, why didn't we pick the 7 stocks? The chances of you, like you say, as a stock picker, getting that spot on, buying that right painting is 0. I know people around the fire like to brag with the 1 or 2 shares that they bought at 10, now it's 40, but they don't tell you about the other 5 who actually didn't make money.
Yes.
You know, and we see it. So there is a case for, I guess, trackers,
Yeah.
passive trackers that tracks an index. It's low cost, so there's definitely a case for that. Or then your more active managers, but they still buy 20 to 30 stocks in a balanced portfolio.
Correct.
It's not 1 or 2 or 3. And I see there's a lot of easy equities now. It's so easy to buy stocks. People think they're very clever buying these stocks, but they burn their fingers most of the time. So, yeah, great story. And I think there's a lot of truth in that we can learn from. And we, like I said, we see it every day. People trying to be smart, trying to buy that 1 or 2 paintings, stocks that they think is the next deal. And, you know, it doesn't. It's very rarely is it successful. And if you look at the most successful investors, Warren Buffett, all of these guys that stood the test of time, they weren't stock pickers. You know, and they weren't quick traders. Long-term quality companies keeping it for the long term.
Yeah, so you spoke about Warren Buffett. Even he would confess that he got it wrong more than he got it right. Yeah. So that's quite interesting as well.
Okay. Thank you, Francois. Next week we are back in the Western Cape, and we'll see you there. Cheers.
Cheers.